Hello, my dear students. Welcome to the new chapter in your literature reader, The Hound of Baskervilles. The objectives are to know more about the author, to comprehend the text, to get an acquaintance with crime fiction. Now, this is the author, Sir Arthur Ignatius Conan Doyle. I hope you all might have heard about Sherlock Holmes. He is the author of Sherlock Holmes stories. Sir Arthur Ignatius Conan Doyle was born on 22nd May 1859 and he passed away on 7th July 1930. He was a British writer and physician. He created the character Sherlock Holmes in 1887 for A Study in Scarlet, the first of 4 novels and 56 short stories about Holmes and Dr. Watson. The Sherlock Holmes stories are considered milestones in the field of crime fiction. Doyle was a prolific writer. Other than home stories, his works include fantasy and science fiction, stories about Professor Challenger, and humorous stories about Napoleonic soldier Brigadier Gerard, as well as plays, romances, poetry, non-fiction, and historic novels. He has wrote up many kinds of novels, and he was a writer who set up a milestone in crime fiction. The genre crime fiction. It is a branch of writing which narrates about a crime that has happened and how we unfold the truth related to the crime. Now, before we begin the lesson, do you know what supernatural power means? Supernatural power means something which science or what laws of nature cannot explain. We have certain laws like sunrises in the east, sunsets in the west, like that. But some things cannot be explained using these laws. Such things are called supernatural things. Okay, and do you believe in supernatural things like ghosts, witches, and all? I don't believe in that. So just tell me your opinion. If you find something, if you have a supernatural experience on for your own, will you be afraid or you'll be curious to know more about it? What will you do? Okay, now let's go on to the story. Dr. Mortimer requests Sherlock Holmes to investigate the mysterious death of his friend Sir Charles Baskerville. Sir Charles Baskerville in his estate on the moors of Devon. The local people think that his death is connected with the 200-year-old family curse, a monstrous demon dog roaming the moors and seeking revenge against the Baskervilles. Dr. Mortimer is afraid that Sir Henry, the nearest relative of Sir Charles, might be in danger. Holmes sends Dr. Watson to Baskerville Hall, where he meets people who could be possible suspects. There is Barrymore and his wife. Then there is archaeologist Stapleton and his sister Beryl Stapleton. Holmes, meanwhile, Holmes, meanwhile, has secretly arrived at Devonshire and is investigating the case. He finds the final and the most important missing link in the case when he visits Baskerville Hall. The striking resemblance between Sir Hugo Baskerville, whose portrait hangs on the walls of Baskerville Hall, and Stapleton proves that Stapleton is actually a Baskerville, and with Sir Henry dead, he will be the sole inheritor of the Baskerville fortune. He has a motive for the murder, but they will have to catch Stapleton red handed to prove his crime, and more importantly, they need to save Sir Henry. Read on to find out how they do it. So, Sherlock Holmes always has his friend Dr. Watson. They always go and find the crime, find out the mysteries behind the crime together along with Dr. Watson. So all the Sherlock Holmes stories are narrated by Dr. Watson, Sherlock Holmes' friend. There's a character, Sherlock Holmes' friend, Dr. Watson. Dr. Watson is always the one who is narrating the Sherlock Holmes stories. So here um, there is a friend of Sherlock Holmes called Dr. Mortimer, and he has asked Sherlock Holmes to investigate about a death, a murder that he recently happened, a death that recently happened uh, in a bungalow in a big house called the Baskerville. The family name of the people there is Baskerville. So, a person called Charles Baskerville has died now. So, Sherlock Holmes' friend Dr. Mortimer had asked Sherlock Holmes to investigate. So this house is in an estate, a big estate on the moors of Devon. Moors means open areas covered with rough grass and small plant. In Malayalam, we can see like kaadu pidichu kedakka, such a thing. It is full of covered with full of grass and all. So, and the place is called Devon. And this is not the first death happening in Baskerville. It has happened earlier also. So the local people there believe that these deaths are caused by a big hound. Hound means hunting dog, a demon, a monstrous demon dog is killing. Like the Baskerville family has got a curse. Like this dog will be killing all of their family members. So the local people believe that this dog, because of this curse, this dog is killing all the family members of Baskerville. So when before going to the Baskerville, Sherlock Holmes sent Dr. Watson to investigate everything. So he finds a few people over there, and then meanwhile Sherlock Holmes also arrives at that place secretly, and he also starts investigating, and he finds some people over there who could be the suspects. But he found Stapleton, an archaeologist. He doesn't say that he's a relative, but a picture of one old Baskerville member is there hanged on the wall. It looks somewhat exactly like the Stapleton. So Sherlock Holmes understands that this person is also a person belonging to the Baskerville family. So if he kills all the other persons of the Baskerville family, he will be getting all the wealth of this family. So, but in order to prove that, he needs to catch him red-handed. Red-handed means the time he is going to do the crime. And also there is another person called Henry, a member of Baskerville family. So Sherlock Holmes' friend Dr. Mortimer is afraid that the next victim would be Henry. So Sherlock Holmes has to protect Dr. Henry also. Now let's see what their plans are. Holmes and I picked up Inspector Lestrade at the railway station and arrived at Baskerville Hall. Paying off the carriage, we walked across the moor in the moonlight until we reached the path leading to Merripit House. I was tense as we walked with the cold wind on our faces and dark, empty spaces on either side. My God, it doesn't seem a very cheerful place, said Lestrade. We moved silently and carefully until Holmes stopped us about 200 yards from the house. This will do, he said. We can hide behind these rocks on the right. Watson, you know the place. Creep forward quietly and see what they are doing. I tiptoed down the path till I could look through the windows. Sir Henry and Stapleton were sitting at a round table having coffee. Stapleton was talking in a lively manner, but Sir Henry looked pale. You say the lady is not there? Holmes asked when I told him what I had seen. So Holmes and Watson went to the railway station and picked up Inspector Lestrade, an inspector, police inspector Lestrade, and uh, they when they reached, they paid off for the carriage. For the carriage means the maybe the hose cart or something which they came from the railway station. So they paid off and they walked towards. And Lestrade felt like this place is some kind of creepy place. He felt he was really. He did not feel good about the place. It felt like there is some kind of ghost or something in that place. So they moved silently. And when they were 200 yards away from the house, Sherlock Holmes told, "Let's stop here. We should not go near to the house. We'll hide behind the rocks. And Watson, you just go creep inside to understand what is happening." So he tiptoed. Tiptoed means uh, without keeping our legs fully on the ground in order to not to make noise. So he went there, tiptoed, and he peeped through the window. And he came back and he told Sherlock Holmes that Stapleton and Henry was having tea, and Henry was looking very pale, but Stapleton was having a lively conversation. So Sherlock Holmes asked, "So you mean the lady is not there?" So he said, "No, she is not there." Yes, and there is no light in any other room either. A dense white fog hung over the great Grimpen Mire, and was slowly moving in our direction. Holmes turned his face towards it. "That fog is the one thing on earth that can upset my plans. But it's already 10 o'clock. Our success and Sir Henry's life depends on his coming out before the fog is over the path." As the fog came curling around the house, Holmes dropped on his knees and put his ear to the ground. "Thank heavens, I think I hear him coming." The sound of quick steps broke the silence. We stared keenly at the path. The steps grew louder, and through the fog came the man we were waiting for. He walked swiftly along the path, passed close to the where we were hiding, and went on. As he went on, he kept looking uneasily over his shoulders. "Sss," said Holmes suddenly, and I heard a click of a revolver. "Look out, it's coming." So, uh, what happened? And Watson came and told that, yeah, there is no light in any other rooms than which they both were sitting. Mr. Stapleton and Henry was sitting. And at that time, what happened? A dense fog, a thick fog. I hope you know what is fog. Mm, so, fog was coming. Uh, it started coming over the Great Grimpenmire. That's a place, Great Grimpenmire, the area where the house is. Mire means a stretch of swampy, wet ground. A stretch of wet ground. So it spread over there. So really, Sherlock Holmes was frightened. He said that this fog is going to upset my plans. I won't be able to see anything through this fog. It's but it's already 10 o'clock at night, so I hope that person comes out fast uh, before the fog covers all the way, all around. And so, what did Sherlock Holmes do? He kept his ears on the ground to understand to hear the footsteps. And he said, "Thank heavens, he's coming out." And at that time, a man they were waiting for came out, and he walked swiftly, means fastly, along the path, and he was just looking. He was not feeling easy. He kept looking uneasily over his shoulders. He was looking backside. Is someone following him or something like that? So at that time, Sherlock Holmes said, "See, it's coming." And Watson heard the click of a revolver. So that's all for today. We'll continue. I think you are curious. I hope you all are curious. We'll continue in the next chapter. Next module. See, fog. Fog means a weather condition in which very small drops of water come together to form a thick cloud close to the land or sea, making it difficult to see. Mire means a stretch of swampy ground, a stretch of wet ground. Keenly means intensely. Now, these are the self-check questions. Uh, try answering them. Then only you, if you try answering them and if you're able to answer them, you have understood the story. Otherwise, read the chapter once again. That's all for today. Thank you. Take care.